It is Thursday, June 16th, 2026, about 9 o'clock in the morning, and I've been out of town for the past several days, so I'm kind of catching up on various things that go on. I did have an important decision I needed to make about how to move the animals and the best way to approach that, and I'll kind of lay out my thinking, and then I haven't really made the decision, but once I lay out my thinking, I think the decision will be obvious. It usually is once you sit down and list the reasons, pro and con, and you kind of weigh the results against each other. But anyway, I'm out here with the cows. The cows are back here. This wire, by the way, this is the halfway line of my pasture. So this side's to the north here, that's to the south. I'll turn around here just to confuse everybody. That's the south, that's the north. Okay, so we're looking west now. Right now the temperature is really moderate. It's like probably 78, 80 degrees. Humidity is decent, but the sun isn't out, so it doesn't feel too bad. I think I checked the rain gauge. We got like 1.25 inches of rain over the past several days. I don't know exactly when it came, but the ground is soft and damp, and I like that. And I was really impressed with the amount of, I was in the center of the pasture in the northern half there. I was really impressed with the amount of Bermuda grass I'm getting, and I think I just have excellent forage here. Should last through October, assuming we don't get a severe drought immediately. If we get some more rain, we should be just fine through October. You know what I mean? Super happy with that. Another note that I wanted to make, well, two notes. Number one, Greg Judy's doing the flerd thing. Last that I checked, I haven't really been following his videos closely. What a flerd is when you mix your sheep with your cows. And I was thinking about like his situation and what he's doing, because he provides free choice minerals. So he just provides like basically raw minerals. There's like salt and there's other things in there. There's like 10 different ones. It's a big trough that he tows, and the animals can pick their own minerals, what they want, what they need, and he trusts the animals to do the right thing, you know. So he's not like feeding one mineral and hoping it doesn't poison the animals with the minerals intended for sheep for cows and for cows for sheep and stuff like that. So that's not a luxury that I have. I looked into getting that system, and it's a huge investment. It's just more I can bear right now. You know what I mean? Trying to be really parsimonious with the cash. You know, trying to be very careful with where I spend my money, and trying to make every penny count here. And one of the reasons for that, and I do feel it may feel like I'm rambling, but this is actually a really good point. That's a sleeping lamb there. At least I hope it's sleeping. Are you okay, buddy? Yeah. Everybody likes to look at lambs. What a pretty lamb. He must be new, or she. I don't know, I'm going to back off. There's no reason to bother them. But as I was saying, that ultimately at the end of the day, you have to pay your bills. And if you get in a position where money's tight, you're going to cut those things that cost you money. And so if your farm is costing you money, like you're not making money with your farm, then just wait a few years and then you're going to cut it, right? So you really need to focus, if you're going to do this as a hobby, of making it profitable, so that when you go and start cutting things from your budget because you lose your job or things change or whatever, that the farm is something that stays. You know what I mean? Just like everything else in life, everything you want to keep, you have to make it profitable, some benefit out of it. That aside, so let's talk about the decision I need to make right now, which doesn't seem as important as whether to keep farming and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to make a video in a couple days about that question and how I reasoned that one out. The question I need to decide now is, we did spring rotation grazing very successfully. I don't think there was any hiccups there. The only hiccup was that I still got a bull calf on the cows, and I need to get him off. And now is the time to do that. But the question is, how do I rotate these animals during summer? And there's two schools of thought. One school is you give them lots of ground, you move them quick, right? The kind of the selective grazing approach. The thinking there is that the animals will eat the best and trample the rest, is one phrase you might hear people say. And another idea is that the animals will get the best nutrition. The grass actually likes to be grazed in a certain way, and it will grow even stronger when you graze it properly. Basically 1 or 2 bites, hopefully 1 bite, and then don't touch it for 2 or 3 weeks at least. Let it fully recover and then take another bite. The weeds don't like to be touched. They like to be left alone. They tend to do badly if you graze on them or trample them. Okay. The second school of thought is kind of the more total grazing approach, which is to intensively graze a spot of ground and don't come back to that for a long time. Basically, you graze it almost down to the ground. And the idea there is that the animals will eat the weeds. They will, give the ground a 1-2 punch. Basically force it to grow because it doesn't have any other choice. And then you're giving it plenty of recovery time too. So, you can probably find videos where, the total grazing guys tell the selective grazing guys you're wrong, and the selective grazing guys tell the total grazing guys you're wrong, and things like that. So that's kind of the first thought is, do I graze intensely, or do I do like rapid moves through large areas and come back to it quick? Okay. The second question is, there's really 3 options with the second question. One is you combine the 2 herds into a flerd. That's not really an option for me. Then the next one is leader follower. And what the idea of leader follower is, you have one group of animals go through in one day, and then you have the second group of animals come through on the same patch the second day, and then you don't come back for quite a while, right? And the idea there is kind of like, hey, it's a little easier to move because, you're sharing one wire. And so, for example, here, like if I wanted to move the animals, so I'm going to move the sheep to where the cows are and the cows to a new row. So I set up a new wire, I move the cows, then I move the sheep, and then I'm done. I just need to tear down the old wire, right? So I get 2 moves for one setup and one tear down. Now, if I had them separate, which is the third option, so I have basically they're offset by 180 degrees or something like that. So I basically take the sheep and I move them to the north half of the pasture, or I have them continue to the south and move the cows to the north half, whatever. So I offset them by 180 degrees, so that on a particular point of ground, you get some rest, and you get the cows, and then you get some more rest, and you get the sheep, and then you get some more rest, and then you get the cows, right? And there's obvious benefits to that too. It's a little bit easier to manage. I just, it's kind of easier to do the math, I think. You know what I mean? One of the animals is going to dictate the pace because they're going to be eating more than the other animals. And then the other animals just basically move every time the first animals move. You just kind of mirror the actions. Or, if the one animals are moving faster, you just give them the second animal's bigger area, move them, half as often, but twice as much land. So the same speed, you know what I mean? Anyway, so right now I'm debating leader follower versus the 2 groups. If I had 2 groups, by the way, in order to move the cows, I have to set up a wire, move the cows, tear down a wire, and then move the sheep, set up a wire, move the sheep, and tear down a wire, right? So I have to basically set up and tear down twice as many wires. You know what I mean? Whereas leader follower, you only have to set up 1 and tear down 1 for each move of both animals, right? And that's kind of the reason why I'm leaning towards leader follower right now, is because I see the labor savings, and I really don't have a lot of time to spend in the pasture. The drawback of leader follower is you have to move. You can't go like, well, I'm not feeling good today, I'm just going to leave them for an extra day. Or, I really need to do this thing at the bank or at the tax office, and I'm not going to have time to move the animals today. If you don't move the animals, they're going to sit too long in one spot of ground, right? Now, there's certain ways to recover from a mistake like that. So like, let's say I was planning on keeping the cows here for a day, then the sheep would be here for a day, but instead I left the cows here for 2 days and the sheep here for 2 days. Well, first of all, the sheep are going to have a problem because they're not going to have very much forage. There'll be cattle here for a day, and then they'll be there for 2 days. So I don't know, maybe it'll work out, especially if we're leaving a lot of forage behind. But then if I move the cows to the next row and then move the sheep where the cows were, there's no forage, right? So I need to move basically 2 rows. I need to set up 2 wires, move the cows 2 rows, and then move the sheep 2 rows, and then tear down 2 wires. So I don't really save any labor by not showing up for a day. Whereas with the separate herds, there's a lot of wiggle room. You know, like I can say like, well, I can't get to you this morning, I'll get to you this afternoon, or I'll get to you the next day. And yeah, sure, you might be a little hungry for a day, but it's probably going to work out okay. You know what I mean? So the separate herds seems to be more resilient to real life, you know, intruding upon your rotation schedule. And let's see, what other things do I have? They can share the water with the leader follower. I just set the water up so it spans the wire, so it straddles the wire. Let's think here. I'm gonna have to set up, let's see, I'll have to have 12 wires. Yeah, 12 wires if I'm gonna do by the way, my sheep are jumping through, like when the wires on the top there and the wires at the bottom, they just jump through the middle. So I'm thinking of going to 3 wires for a while now. Doing some math in my head right now. So I need 12 reels. Or what I do is before I move the sheep, okay, so I set up 1 wire, move the cows, because the cows just need 1 wire. And then I go back and put up 2 more wires. So that middle wire has 3 wires. So I can probably get away with 10 reels if I go back and put up new wires. I think I have the reels. Posts are expensive right now. They're $5 a post. And whereas with the sheep, I'd only need 9 wires, and then yeah, it works out the same. I actually save a wire if I do it leader follower. All right. Now the last question is, you know what? I'm going to make a decision for the 2 separate herds. And I think the deciding factor is this. I can't have the sheep near the rams. The rams are at the very north side of the pasture in a pen. I move them every couple days. They're with the puppies. So they're training the puppies. And so I want the sheep far away from the rams. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to move the cows to the north side. I need to move them today, don't I? And then move the sheep, probably skip this row and just start on the next row. Does that make sense? No, now that I think about it, I don't like that. Because I want the cows and the bulls to be set. Maybe I do leader follower with the cows, the bulls, and the sheep. So I put the bulls ahead of the sheep. And then have the cows I'm sorry, I'm not as smart as I thought I was. I need to get the bulls out of the back 20. Yeah, let's try that. Let's have the bulls lead the sheep. I'll have the bulls lead the sheep. Have the cows start them at the north, whatever. The sheep have so much forage here, they have plenty of time. I could probably put the bulls with the sheep. It won't be an issue for a day or two. And so today what I think I'll do is I'll move the cows. Boom. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So, yeah. Hopefully I have enough posts. These little cheap posts that I bought for $2.50, they suck. They're just like the plastic. It's just plastic. There's no metal connecting the fiberglass to the stake. So it's a stupid design. I'm going to go back to the store I got them from and say, hey, these things are stupid. Nobody should buy these. And you should return them to the manufacturer and tell them they're stupid. Let's see if I can find a broken one. Yeah, I was disappointed because I kind of liked it actually. The idea of a fiberglass rod Here you go. That's what happens to it. Anyway, this video is long enough. I need to wrap it up. You guys have a great day. Take care and bye-bye.